Hi everyone, welcome to my little world YouTube channel. In this video, we will discuss the next topic of the control and coordination lesson, that is the spinal cord. It is one part of the central nervous system. After the protection of the brain and after the different parts of the brain and functions of the brain, today we will discuss in this video. Today we will discuss the spinal cord. What is the function of the spinal cord? How the spinal cord is protected in our body, and what is the main importance of spinal cord in our body? Okay. Spinal cord. What is meant by the spinal cord? How it is working? Spinal cord is nothing but it's a very sensitive part in our body, which is where it is present. Exactly, it is present. It is start from the stem of the brain, where the brain is. It is near to the what you call medulla oblongata. It is starting from the medulla oblongata, and it is up to. It is extended up to the lumbar region. Lumbar region is nothing but our lower backbone. So up to that whatever the structure is there, no, that is called as a spinal cord. What is meant by the spinal cord? Spinal cord is a very sensitive part which is start from the stem of the brain, and it is up to extended up to the lumbar region, or you can call it as a lower backbone. Okay, and it is protected by the three soft tissue, and that the spinal cord is protected by the three soft tissue, that is called as a membrane. Along with that membrane, it is covered by the what you call vertebrae or backbone. It is covered by the backbone as well as the three protective tissue, that is called as a what you call membrane. Okay. Then what is the function of the spinal cord? What is the importance of spinal cord in our body? Means it is a very important part in our body. Means it is a main give the connection between our body as well as the brain. It is one of the act as a mediator between our brain as well as the body. Whatever the information which is given to the brain from the sensory organ, those are all the what you call information is passing to the brain, through which that is called as a spinal cord. It is that's why I told you that spinal cord is the most important, or it gives the connection between brain as well as the our body. Okay. And the spinal cord is what is the main function of the spinal cord in our body? Means it will control our reflex action. This is a very important what you call action, that is a reflex action. Normal action and reflex action. What is meant by the reflex action? It is a reflex action. It is the main function of this spinal cord. Okay. What is meant by the reflex action means it is one of the sudden and involuntary actions. These sudden as well as the involuntary actions which is give response to the stimuli. Such kind of all the actions are come under the what you call reflex action. Suppose I will give one of the example. If you touch the hot object, suddenly you will withdraw the hand. What is why you are suddenly withdrawing that your hand when you touch the hot object? In that, this kind of the actions are called as a reflex action. In this action, we are not thinking, we are not supposed to participate. Our brain is not supposed to participate in such kind of the actions. Brain is participate only the thinking process, where the some actions are needed that think. That actions are going to be whatever the thinking process is present in that particular action, then the brain will get participate in particular action. But when you touch the hot object, you are not supposed to think. Suddenly you will get a withdrawal from that hot object. Without the involvement of the brain, suddenly some actions are some response are given to that stimuli. That hot object is act as a stimuli, and you are withdrawing that hand from the stimuli without involvement of the brain, or without any thinking, or without fraction of second we are getting the withdrawing our hand from the hot object. Such kind of all the actions are come under the what you call reflex action. Those reflex actions are controlled by what it is, our spinal cord. Some of the nerve impulses are some of the message is the response is given by the not only the brain, the response is also given by the spinal cord. Which kind of this response is given by the spinal cord to our sensory organs? That is a reflex action. Whatever the response is given by the spinal cord, those are all the response are come under what it is, that is a reflex action. Clear? Then once again I will repeat what is meant by the reflex action. Reflex action is nothing but it is one of the sudden action, sudden involuntary actions, and it gives response to the stimuli. Without involvement of the brain, we are giving response to the stimuli. So all that action is called as what it is, reflex action. In examination, in every year the asking for 1 marks, they will ask what is the role of the brain in a reflex action. What is the role of the brain in a reflex action? There is no role of the brain in a reflex action because reflex action is a sudden as well as the involuntary. There is no thinking process will take place in the what you call reflex action. These are all action. Here the spinal cord is plays a very important role in the such kind of the action. Okay. Next performing that is called as a reflex. This reflex action already you learned the reflex action. How the nerve impulses are, how the nerves will transfer from the sensory organ to the spinal cord, in which way or in which pathway the nerve impulses are carry that message. That is called as a reflex arc. What is meant by the reflex arc is nothing but it is one of the pathway. Which pathway? That reflex action pathway is called as a reflex arc. The pathway of the reflex action, in which way the nerve impulses are carry the message from the sensory organ or effector organ to the spinal cord, and again the response is given by the spinal cord to the effector organ. Those ways are called as or that pathway are called as what it is, reflex arc. What is meant by the reflex arc? The reflex arc is nothing but the pathway of the reflex action is called as a reflex arc. Suppose we are giving the one of the pathway for the reflex arc. I already given the example that which one, when you touch the hot object, suddenly you are withdrawing that your hand or your part, that body part from the that hot object. In that first, that is called as a stimulate. Hot object is called as a stimulate. Our action start from the stimulate or stimulus. After that, the sensory organ having the small what you call cells, those are called as what it is, receptor cells. Receptor cells to sensory nerve. Sensory nerve or sensory organ having the nerve, those are called sensory nerve. Sensory nerve to not brain. That message will transfer to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, that is the spinal cord having the nerve, those are nerves are called as the relay nerves. From relay nerve to motor to effector organ. Okay. With effector organ means the which organ is getting the effect, means taking that object or getting the stimuli response, that is called as a effector organ. This pathway is called as a reflexor. From this way the nerve impulses are carrying the message from the sensory organ and it is reached to the spinal cord. Again the spinal cord is sending the response to the what you call effector organ. This pathway is called as a reflex arc. The reflex arc as well as the reflex action is whole controlled by what it is, our spinal cord. Okay. Then we will move to the next topic. That is the protection of the spinal cord, how the spinal cord is protected. Then I forgot to tell you that the what is meant by the reflex arc. The reflex arc is a very important part that is in examination they will ask you the questions what is meant by, they will give the one of the scenario and you have to write the what you call response to the stimuli. Okay. Then what is meant by the for protection of the spinal cord. The spinal cord is protected. I already told you that the protection of the spinal cord. Spinal cord is protected by the one of the three membrane that is called as a three soft tissues. That is called as a membrane, and the membrane is covered by the backbones or the vertebrae. Okay. So in next class we will move with the next topic. Thank you.